What all the organisations that Lucy mentioned are failing to tell us is the risks of actually staying in, the really deep economic risks of another Eurozone crisis. What happens the next time the euro goes pop?
This is what happens if Britain leaves. The economy shrinks, the value of the pound falls, inflation rises, unemployment rises.
Well, when I heard that, I did think of Pinocchio and the nose growing rather long here. My point is very simply, they do not know. This is a Treasury report. The Treasury didn't pick the recession when it came.
There's a chance that some goods will become more expensive and others will come cheaper. Much depends on whether we reach a trade deal with the EU. So let's assume there's no trade deal with the EU. Those in favour of remaining in the EU would argue that as a result, tariffs may be put on goods coming into the UK, which obviously would make those goods more expensive. And then there's the cost of your holidays. There are risks of falling the pound, and therefore foreign holidays will become more expensive. And of course you won't benefit from the cap on roaming charges for your mobile phone, because we'd no longer be in the EU.
Free trade deals are really difficult to do. We know that. And what I just haven't heard, and I think our members say they haven't heard, is what the alternative would look like.
If you look at the business arguments, the CBI represents the top 1% of big business.
So I think the British public will say to themselves, when the CBI speaks, they've been wrong before, they're wrong now, and they have a conflict of interest.
Those who want to leave the EU say that there will be some cost savings. For example, UK companies will no longer have to comply with EU environmental laws and so won't have to meet EU green targets. They might be sourcing alternative sources for fuel, and again that could bring some cost savings. And the UK will no longer be bound by the Working Time Directive, so workers can work for longer hours, and so presumably goods will be cheaper as a result.
What do you think, Mr Banks, will happen to interest rates in the event that we leave the
I was
European
attempting
Union?
to answer that. The interest rates will either zero or negative, and they will remain at zero or negative in this country, whether we Brexit, exit or Lexit or do anything else.
The organisation I work with, UK and a Changing Europe, has lots of information on its website that will help you make up your mind.